You're listening to Making Money Online, the podcast that talks about how to make income with impact and have a thriving business. We don't just talk about business, we talk about everything that affects your business too. This episode is sponsored by our friends at Autumn. You know me. I'm all about finding new ways to work smarter and give my time to the work and people that matter most. But like every entrepreneur, I've had those weeks where I am stuck in the weeds, answering the same questions over and over, stepping in to fix things, and my absolute pet hate, having to chase people for updates. And sometimes things don't seem to move forward unless it's me stepping in, right? Well, I'm excited to let you know that I've discovered Autumn. That's AUTM. And honestly, it's unreal. The team at Autumn are helping us shape the next chapter of how we run our world so we can deliver even more impact. It's actually the first AI I've found that actually does stuff that I want it to do. It doesn't just answer questions, it takes action, connecting my emails, calendar, projects, team, everything. And it just keeps things moving. But best of all, it just gets on with the work without me needing to check or chase anything. No setup, no stress, no training. Autumn aligns perfectly with my mission. It's designed to give us back our headspace, our time, and our focus for the thing that really moves our business forward. And that matters most to me personally, the impact that we're making. Autumn is a great investment, sure, but more than that, it's what we all need to help us fall back in love with running our businesses. Trust me, it's going to blow your mind and you're going to love it. Head to autumn.ai/Lisa to save 50% on your first month and see for yourself why it's such a game changer. Ready to go further faster? Just Autumn it. One of the hardest things in this online world is knowing who to trust. This year I've been conned out of more than 300,000 from people that just didn't deliver and investments that haven't even been real. My next guest, Emma Cooper, is a strategist who was also duped by one of the same people. And I want to talk to her about what we need to be looking out for when it comes to suppliers. I also want to talk to her about the trends we're seeing in the industry right now. Hi, Emma. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
No worries. I mean, it's going to be a difficult conversation, I think, because we've only just been through it. So I feel like this is a topic that is quite still emotional for us both at the moment. But I think it's worth us talking about to save other people from the stuff that happens. So we're not going to get into specifics about who this is, and actually there's more than one.
There's a lot of these people,
unfortunately, this year that we've been talking about that have kind of come into the industry and are not either who they say they are, or they say that they've got credentials they haven't, or they say they've got contacts they haven't. And so when you end up paying, there's just no delivery.
Zero.
So I want to talk about this specific one without mentioning names, mainly because you and I were both going through similar things at the same time, along with actually quite a few other people we've found out now.
About 48.
Is it 48?
Yeah, 48 we're up to. There's definitely more.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I thought we were in our 20s. Okay.
Oh, no.
And we're all going through this and none of us spoke to each other. And I think that one of the reasons, if we'd have spoken to each other, we would have rumbled this sooner.
Totally.
But I think one of the reasons we didn't is because I think that there are tactics that con artists use. And one of them is to tell you things. So I was told a lot of things that other people thought about me.
Yeah.
Which made me not go near those people, as you would, you know. I've now since found out they were all lies and that they were completely made up by this person. But it's what kept me away from people for a year. So the first thing I want to talk about is how people like this get the opportunity to con. I think with yours, it's quite, like, we often find that they pull on heartstrings.
Yeah.
Your story with this is the biggest, the epitome of what that looks like.
Yeah.
So your sister, Nick, who was amazing. I remember seeing her online. She was amazing. She sadly died a few years ago. And the whole industry knew that. She was a known figure.
Yeah.
And just talk us through how this person came to be in your life.
So And it's funny, really, because of positioning. And again, you said we're going to have a super honest conversation.
Yeah.
And so when this person actually, obviously, I know who you were. I bought one to many years ago. And when I look back on the messages, the first thing they said was that they were part of like your mastermind. So for me, I thought, I know it's really high ticket. They were telling me what their business was turning over. And I was thinking they're legitimate, right? So of course I questioned, you don't need anything else. And they're like, I'm just looking for a different environment. You know, with what I do in business, it's good to network. And I'm like, fair enough.
That's fair.
That makes perfect sense. So I was like, okay. So jump on the first one-to-one, and the first, obviously we talk business, and then we started talking more personal, and it was kind of like, when's your birthday and all this kind of stuff. Straight away it started that their birthday, even though it wasn't recorded officially, was the 23rd, but actually they were actually born on the 22nd, but because of where they were born in what times, it wasn't recorded accurately. And I was like, 22nd of what? Like September. And I'm like, oh, that's my sister's birthday. So it was straight away, like immediately.
Do you
first
think
meeting.
now, when you look back, that person knew that birthday?
1,000,000%.
Okay.
Because obviously, a long time later, I've since found out, of course, they were making out that they didn't know anything about me. We were just meeting for the first time. Somebody had referred them. And so, yeah, it was all kind of like, you know, when you first meet someone, you're having these conversations. Except after this all came out, somebody got in contact, actually a mutual friend, and somebody who like had experience and said, actually, she was in your world in 2015.
Wow, a long time ago.
And showed me messages of saying, oh, I think her sister's going to die. Have you seen this? She doesn't look good. Then it was like my planner business. There were messages about that. Have you seen her planner? And blah, de, blah. And
so it was a little bit obsessed with you even then.
well, I don't know, but I just think it was just odd, isn't it? Like, how do you explain that? I'm like, that's so weird. Why not just say like, oh, seen you around for years. Like, you know, really sorry about your sister. Yeah, just really strange. And so then it was all these, I don't know, synchronicities with my sister that were used. And I didn't realize until I went back through all the messages, but it's sick, like YouTube links of songs saying, oh, you've probably never heard of this song, but I listen to this every morning and it's my sister's funeral song. And then another one, which was the last dance that my sister had when she was in hospital with my dad.
Well, she just sent you those songs?
Yeah, just saying, I love this song. It's really upbeat. And I'm there like, oh my God, this is nuts.
Like did you think Nick has sent her?
Oh, do you know what? I feel like such an idiot. I'll say that, no swearing, but I feel like such an idiot. But like almost, yeah, I think when you lose people, you're so vulnerable. Of
course you are.
And you kind of look for any signs. Yeah. And I don't want to get emotional on. You know, but life is always life. And then after Nick died, I had my little boy, and I'd had a lot of like losses before that. Nick died and Arch was born in 2 months later. And he was really difficult as a baby. He's now really difficult as a 4-year-old. He's autistic and it's really hard. And I just think life is so busy that when someone like this comes into your life, it's almost like everyone's in a whirlwind. We've all got stuff going on.
Have.
And I just don't think you have the time really to really look into things. No, because you always think the best of people.
Do your due diligence, but actually a lot of the time people's due diligence is who I'm pictured with.
So true. That's me.
Well, that's everyone says, well, Lisa's, you were pictured with her. And I'm like, yeah, because...
Not just you though, Lisa. There were a lot of people.
There were.
So don't feel guilty.
No,
there were a lot of people that, and also just through what she said, you know, her own kind of credentials that she gave. But you know what, Lisa, like even when things started unraveling, even when other people said, are you sure? I'd be like so defensive. I'm like, oh,
me too, actually.
They're having the hardest time.
Yeah.
Like they're going through cancer.
Yeah.
Like they're not going through cancer. Or like, oh my God, how can you say that? Their dad's dying and mum's dying. You know, she's getting divorced. The bank account is frozen. And now I like say it back. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Well, none of those things turned out to be true, did they?
Zero. And when I look back at the messages, what made me, I went from feeling like really sad, to them feeling super angry when I read the messages, but also not feeling so bad about myself because I was like, wow, that was smart. Like I could see why they were saying what they were saying when they were saying it, because all of like the promises of like this opportunity and that opportunity and the other opportunity, it was all coming to a head of where I would have been saying, hang on a minute now, this is weird. So at that point, another illness comes in, another trauma.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, I'm paying for this and nothing's happening. And then I'd be like,
oh, I've had a stroke.
Yeah, it was things like that. Yeah. And then I'd be like, okay, another thing. Wow, okay, this person's really unlucky. And then it'd be like the next time I should have been paid by somebody, something else happened.
Yeah.
And that's what started to get me going, this is a bit weird. This is a bit strange.
And then I'm suicidal, which really, really, really knocks me off, because I just don't think you mess with mental health like that. And that to me is so offensive to anyone who genuinely, because actually when you are suicidal, you're not speaking to 25 other people, which we know, saying to them, I'm suicidal. It's a quiet thing.
Yeah,
you don't reach out for help. That's why it's so dangerous.
I actually spoke about that when it happened in my mastermind, because
Did you?
I am a massive advocate for mental health. You know, I have been in a position of feeling suicidal.
Yeah, same.
I have, I'm a high functioning depressive, anxiety. I've had all of these things in my life. I've supported people that have been suicidal. And so when she then got backed into the corner, because we all spoke to each other and said, hey, we know you've been lying about all of this, like we want our money back. For the first thing to be, well, now I'm suicidal.
Yeah.
So you better not say anything to anyone, because then it's going to be your fault.
But as much as you don't want it to affect your decision, because you're like, I absolutely know that's a lie. I know it's a lie. But there's still obviously,
of course,
that responsibility, like that side of you that says, but I don't want to push anyone over the edge and I don't want to see anyone hurt. So you can't call it out.
No, and we didn't call it out for a long time. And I think, and now actually I'm getting it in the neck a little bit from people going, well, you knew about this a little bit before. Why didn't you tell us? Because she's taken money from me now in that time. And I don't think people realise, like, when you're faced with someone saying those kind of things, you have to take them seriously, even if you know deep down they're just saying it to stop you from telling anyone else.
Yeah, you do.
You have to, because what if you're that one time when that person was telling the truth about how they were feeling?
True.
And so it's unfair, I think, to be blamed.
And I think at that point, though, you're going through this whole, I mean, I don't know about you, but I think I blame myself for everything. Everything that happens in myself, I always look inward first. Even if someone's complaining at me about something that's unreasonable, whatever, I will always say, do you know what? Let me just have a look at this first. Is this
my fault?
Me?
I do that. I
just don't think you're going to learn otherwise.
No.
So I'm like, actually, there are lessons that I can take from this. Even if I don't agree with your whole point, but I can definitely learn from this and to avoid it happening in future. So even with this, I was like, oh gosh, there are lessons in this. But like, I've even questioned that with the promises that were being made of opportunities, like I question myself like, Jesus, was it money? Was I putting money over, to
what
other
you
things?
really knew or what you really felt? Well, I think that, like, intuition-wise, were there red flags? Yes, there were red flags, and I wasn't listening to those red flags.
Yeah.
But I think some of it was, I really believe in due diligence, and I did my due diligence. I spoke to people and said, you've worked with this person, are they legit?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And I got, I think they are legit, because when someone is conning someone else,
because everyone was being conned.
Yes.
And put on that rope. So they were somewhere along the journey and they're like, I don't really want to identify that maybe they're not, because then I don't think I'm going to get what I want.
What I've paid for. I think we all kind of did that a bit. And so we all stood back a little bit and waited for someone else to maybe do it. And then I think, we'd get a little bit of an opportunity. So then we'd go, oh, well, maybe it will be okay.
Yeah.
And it's like, but I'm still this much money down, but maybe it will come back to me. And then it's like, oh, a little bit more of a thread. But actually, when you look back at it, we're all well out of pocket. And we're never going to get that back.
No. And I'm stupid because I didn't pay for a service.
No, you just gave her money.
I just felt really bad because there was a story of divorce and frozen assets and, don't worry, let me do this. And But even with people saying they have a level of expertise that they don't have, and everything that I was told it felt like it was backed up.
Yeah, it did.
Because I went to venues that they said that they had been there working in this certain capacity. And it was always something was a half truth.
Yes. I think that's how they do it though.
Yes.
It's clever. So you check something out and you're like, that seems to be right. But actually it's not exactly right.
Like go to this top end hotel. I got told that, the rooms are free because of the network. I since found out, no, she was paying for them for my room. I'm like, why would you do that? Like,
because
I pay for my own
more
room.
Money. That's why.
But it just, it's all weird. And then, all the staff would be like, oh, hey. And I think, legit.
Yeah, they know her.
Legit. Yeah.
But then when you spoke to them afterwards, no one knew her.
Oh, they knew her, but not in that capacity.
Right.
They're like, oh, yeah, she worked here as this, but not at the level that was said.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's a really interesting time to be in this industry. I think that, what happens when a market is like this is desperation. And that's when you see unethical behavior like this come out. And I was just talking actually on another podcast with somebody that's an investigator for me for when things like this happen, because they're happening so often now.
Absolutely, yeah.
And he was saying that actually it's not as quick as you think. So I always think that con artists come in and get out kind of thing. And actually they don't. They spend time
grooming you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like getting you to trust them so that other people then see you with them and then they trust them. And it's all part of a bigger process that I had no idea about. And so when I then get shocked when people tend not to be who they say they are, because I'm like, no, they must be. Like, I've known them for a year. And it's like, that was all part of the process.
No. I also add in the line, I used to be a police officer. Like, I would know, like, no, you don't know. Like, you know nothing.
But that is surprising because you did used to be a police officer.
I know. So I felt really stupid. So stupid. But I'm also like a really kind person.
Yeah.
And so I always want to see the good in people. I don't want this either to affect me in the way that, I love people and I really genuinely want people to win. And I really would love to help them get there. Right. And whether that's being your mate, cheering you on from the sidelines, if people are giving you a hard time, I'm like, listen, ignore them all, crack on, don't worry about it. Yeah. Like, they're nuts. Whatever that might look like. And so I think that it is just like that in people that allows us to be a little bit more susceptible. Yeah. Because you do want people to win.
This year, I have been scammed for over, about 500,000 in certain things, non-delivery and certain things like that, investments and things. I think it does make you stop trusting. It does make me more wary. And I think so. It wouldn't. But it has. Like, I'm definitely, maybe that's not a bad thing. I'll do my due diligence a bit more.
I think we have to learn the lessons. And I always think life works like this. These tests will keep coming up over and over and over again until we pass the test. Yeah. When we pass the test, we're then able to go to the next level. And until we pass the test, they're just going to keep coming back. So our test clearly is not everyone is who or what they say they are.
And
you can't take it on face value.
No, and you can't take it on being photographed.
Because you're only human too, and you can make mistakes and you can make bad judgments. It doesn't, you're just somebody, not like you're just somebody, you're just somebody who's built a really great business.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you're the best judge of character. No, it doesn't mean you don't suffer with depression. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're still human.
Yeah, the best judge of character. Yeah. I'm getting better at it, but my intuition, that gut feel, isn't great all of the time. And sometimes my husband says to me, like,
mine too.
How are you not seeing who this person is? And I'm like, what? They're nice. Like, I just don't see it like other people see it. Okay. So let's say new people coming into the industry, they're pictured with people that we trust.
Yes.
And this has happened recently to me. People have been pictured with me, and so other people have spent money with them. And I don't think they're necessarily con artists, but they didn't deliver what was promised.
Yeah.
And so people have said to me, well, why did you promote them? And I'm kind of like, I didn't promote them. They were just in a photo with me because we were at something together.
Yeah.
Oh, well, they made out they were your friend and that kind of thing. Is there even anything we can really do about that?
I actually think that one of the things that like consumers can do, like we always think, don't we? And we have this ourselves. When we're bringing anyone into our business who is providing a service, we pay them up front.
That's true.
Right? We pay them up front and we're like, yeah, there we go. I mean, there is nothing stopping a consumer, us or anybody else who's buying any kind of program, saying like, I'll pay 50% when this is delivered and pay 50% when this is delivered. Yeah. There is nothing stopping us giving them, as you know, because you did this later on, giving them our own contracts just because they're providing us with a service. Because if you came to me, Lisa, or I came to you and I had said, will you run this affiliate launch for me, which your team provides, right? Then I could say to you, this is my contract, Lisa, that I like to give everyone that I'm working with. And because this is what I stick to, have a good read through it because, you know, I'm going to hold you to this. Yeah. Now, if you're someone who knows full well that you are going to not just deliver, but over deliver, you're going to stick to your time. You wouldn't care. No. I'd just be like, yeah, crack on, I'll sign that. No problem. If that makes you feel safe, I'm totally okay with that. Knowing my intention is to over deliver. And if there is something, I mean, you and I have both had it, right? Life gets involved. Sometimes some things can happen out of our control. You know, if you can always be fair and reasonable, I think, and upfront with people on delivery, they're always going to be fine with you. But I've had things like, of course, because of this incident, you know, I had like 11 people who paid a lot of money for a retreat that I had to, I rang each of them individually and say, I'm so sorry. Yeah. Like, I'll give you every penny back immediately now, or you can transfer it to another service, but I'd rather the money sit in your bank account than mine. Yeah. So not only had I given the person all that money, I then had to refund all that money.
But I think that's a good thing. Like having that kind of way of always wanting to over deliver and having that integrity means that you build trust. Like people, I see people go into their business and they buy something, but they don't buy again. Yeah. And I think a good business is one where they buy over and over again. And my customers are all repeat customers. Yes. Because there's a trust there. And I think it makes sense to over deliver or to give back money if you can't do something, or to hold your hands up and say, apologies, this was supposed to happen, but
I messed up.
Yeah, this can't happen. This is how we're going to rectify it, kind of thing. But I think there's a lot of people that don't do that. And
yes, I've heard.
Stick to it and like tough, this is what's happening.
Or if there's a lot of people, I've heard about it where there's a lot of people that are unhappy in a certain program. Like at the end of the day, you always get, you know, especially when you're doing big launches,
you're going to get
high numbers. You're always going to. Yeah. But I think when it becomes an issue is when you don't take constructive feedback. Yeah. When you get too big for your boots and you think, oh, there's nothing wrong with the way I do it or this. I think if you are always open to, never thought about it before.
Well,
maybe there's something we can do.
It's literally created through feedback. Yeah. Like the reason we change it every year is because we send out a survey and they give feedback, and not all of it's good. I've got to tell you,
of course not.
We are going to get people that say, you know, I needed more accountability, or I needed more
support or tech, or
and that's fine, but we can't know to do it unless we're told. So I'm all happy with feedback.
I think that's something that the industry is definitely missing. Yeah. And I think even though there's been this big kind of trust recession, we've talked about it openly, haven't we, online? And there's definitely been a trust recession, but I actually feel like people are actually buying quicker. So what I have seen in launches and all that is that they are buying on the sales pitch. That's where the big numbers come through. Yes. Whereas you go back, 18 months, 2 years ago, Lise? It was all the sit on the fences, splinters in the bum. Yeah, they fly in on the last day. Where have they gone?
It's changed. It's launches have massively changed. Massively. I do think that's true. I think people are buying quicker, but they're buying from people they've followed for a long time. They're buying from people they trust.
Yes, and that's why I have really been enjoying, and you do these as well, like challenge launches. Yeah, because within a few days, they can really get exactly who you are, and they have been around you for a few days. You can see the type of person, I want to do business with them, or no, I don't. Not. It's not happening so much on Masterclass, like short, sharp bursts. No. But I think that if we're doing this kind of stuff, and we're all trying to be a little bit more sensible, then I think you're right in that the industry right now, although it has changed, I think that the people who are still winning The people who are able to be like, oh, God, yeah, this is a change, but let's crack on kind of thing, are the people who are not too proud to look inward and go, yeah, I could maybe put a little bit more service behind that. I could make this more of an experience. I could give them the more support when it's needed, rather than saying, well, this worked 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
mean? There's no point saying this worked 2 years ago.
You've got to change.
It's completely different.
Totally.
But I also think the other thing is credibility. So one of the things you do really well is you show the results. You show your clients results and you talk about things that have happened. And we do the same, we interview people that have done one-to-many and that have got those results.
There's lessons in that for us as well. I've shouted about people who have been part of my challenges. I don't ask for screenshots of their Stripe. And then I've suddenly realized, well, they could just tell me they got this amazing results because they know I'm going to post them on my social media. And that gives them a little bit of...
True.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like... I'm going to start asking them to screenshot me.
Do we need the proof?
100%. Because if I'm telling someone, oh, hey, they did this in my challenge and this is the result, because you think, well, why would someone lie? But then you're like, well, if they get posted on your social media, Lisa, with a shed load of following.
Yeah, that's true.
That happened to me the other week and you gave me the heads up. And I was like, oh my God, I just gave them airtime.
That needs to happen more.
Yes.
People giving people the heads up.
Yes.
I saw somebody that about 5 or 6 years ago.
Took part in my challenge,
Yeah, about 5 or 6 years ago, someone came into the industry. They lied about everything they did. They lied about who they knew. I happened to know because I knew one of the people they were saying was their best mate, who was a celebrity. I spoke to said celebrity who said, I've never heard of this woman, which means if they're lying about that one, they're lying about all of them.
That's true.
Yeah. And so once they kind of got found out, they kind of disappeared for a while. And this happens a lot in this industry. Once you're found out, you go to ground. You go away, or you go to Cyprus, or you go wherever you want. And then suddenly 4 or 5 years, they're back doing the same thing, sometimes under a different name, sometimes not. And I think what they're expecting is that the churn of this online industry is so big, because it is. People come in and disappear quite quickly that no one will remember. But I've been here a while.
I'm an oldie.
Yeah, I'm like, I remember you. It wasn't that long ago. You've now got a different name. Yeah. And like, I remember what they did. And so when I saw that with you, I'm like, hey, heads up. Like, we need to be warning our friends, because one of the other things that happens, and this is less of a supplier problem, more of a client issue, is that the same clients that con us out of money. So somebody that comes into a program, does the whole program and then doesn't pay. Or does one of those Stripe callback things that you can do. When I speak to other people, the same person has done 6 programs and has done that with every single one.
Who's got time to learn that much?
I know.
I'm like, the reason why you're having to call this back from Stripe is because you're not learning and doing.
I think it's a dopamine hit of being able to do it.
Maybe.
I don't know, but we talk about them and it's the same people. And I'm like, we don't talk about people openly like this because we don't want to put women down.
Yeah.
We don't want to be those people that gossip about other people. And, you know, we don't want to be people that...
There's shame for that too.
There is shame for it.
You know, there's shame. And you're like, but they're a div. Like, isn't there like some kind of disclaimer? Don't shame another woman unless she's 100% a div or a scammer or whatever.
Exactly.
Like, there's got to be a caveat.
Like there needs to be some list that we can go to, like TripAdvisor, but for people that are just con artists.
True. I thought about this. Like, I wonder if there's something, but I mean, we do it with accreditation, I guess, but still that's not...
Accreditation can be made up.
Yeah.
As we know, people can literally forge a certificate and say your company now has accreditation when they don't.
True, we can check that, can't we?
Yeah.
I mean, we don't always do it because we assume that, I mean, how would I know? But that was kind of like touching on it. I feel like there needs to be something else where maybe you stick your course through and you get very, very honest and real feedback or something, and maybe you're scored on a quality level. And it's some kind of situation where, you know that it is 100% legit. Yeah.
Because CPD is kind of the nearest we've got to that. And that's why we put our things through CPD, so that there is a quality to it.
Yeah.
But I think there could be something that's
There's got to be something that's,
So let's talk about like the industry in general.
Yeah.
So, you know, you've been in this business not very long, a couple of years.
5 years.
5 years. But you've been in business 13, a long time because you started in like Forever Living and came up all the ranks and then came into the coaching space.
Yeah.
Everybody is talking about how much things have changed, like in 2025 especially. What trends are you seeing? What changes are you seeing?
I don't actually feel like it's changed that much.
Don't you?
No.
Wow.
I feel like, no, I don't feel like it's changed that much. If anything, I think it's easier to stand out because everybody is using AI. And I love AI. I do. I use
Behind
it a lot.
the scenes.
But it's how you use it. There's a really good way to use it. Like even like a copywriter friend of mine, she coaches how to use AI. You know, and you think, oh, well, isn't that silly of you to do that
too?
Like,
No, my husband Sam, he's a copywriter, and he actually helps people with AI.
See, and that is smart, and that's forward thinking because it's not going away. So you may as well embrace it and help other people use it right. So I think that the people who aren't taught how to use it right, it stands out like a sore thumb that it's AI, and therefore is so disconnecting when you get onto a sales page. And one of my copywriters spoke at an event of mine, and she said it so well. She said, 95% of the sales pages that I land on, it is like you are on a freaking safari trying to hunt out what are they actually selling? Yeah. What are they doing? How are they going to do it? It's like not in anyone's words anymore. So I think to stand out is actually easier now than it has been previously. And I think the people who are willing to pivot are the people who will win. Because look, online business is different. It's different now than it was 18 months ago. It was different 18 months ago than it was 2 years previous. Like you've just got to be willing to pivot. Now that's harder for the newer people.
It is, but it is about flexibility, adaptability. Because if I think about even what worked 8 years ago, 6 years ago, 5 years ago, everything has changed bit by bit, but it's all changed.
Yep.
And it will be again in a year. Mm-hmm. And we do have to be flexible with our approach of how we do things, and even things like pricing. Like you can see when pricing needs to go down and up. You can feel it in the market. You can see but some people are very rigid of, well, I'm high ticket. Yeah. And so this is how much it costs and that's it.
And too scared to go backwards. As if, I failed at that.
But it's not a failure. Didn't. The market's changed.
You're learning.
Yeah.
I think as well, one of the things that I have noticed massively with the new people coming in is that audience growth has changed so much. And it's hard as well when, as you kind of move through the different stages of your business and you master certain strategies, I think it's sometimes difficult to be like, okay, so if I was at the beginning right now, what would work? What would be doable on like the budget that you have when you're first starting out? So, you know, as you go on, you can afford to do the things like the PR and the, big ad spends and the big launches, which bring in big audience. But nobody wants to say it because of ego, but like nobody's audience grows unless you're one of these amazing influencers with a six pack. Yeah. Like nobody's audience grows unless you physically you have a strategy that you can get behind and that works, even just with free resources, or you've been teaching that for years.
There still needs to be a strategy behind it. There really does. And I think what used to work, let's be honest, it was easier for us.
100%. We built ours before Facebook was monetized.
Yeah, we did it on a Facebook group. And that was the easiest way of doing things. And how I did it on a Facebook group was to go round to different people's audiences and train in their memberships and things and get them over to the Facebook group. If I was doing it again now, I would kind of do the same thing, but I wouldn't get them on a Facebook group. I'd get them on an email list.
Exactly. It's the same strategy.
Yeah, you still have to go around and talk to lots of different people's audiences.
And groups still work. The way you taught that in one to many still works. I've got a girl in mind, she's grown from 0 to 5,000 in her ideal clients, like around menopause. Like it still works. It still works. Stuff.
I think the difference
is... It just needs to be a bit more layered.
Yes. Yeah. And you would have to not really be in there very much before. And now you definitely do. It's
you've got to be in.
I think that we went through this time in business where everything was hustle, hustle, hustle.
Yeah.
And then after hustle, it was, we need balance. And now I think it's always gone too far that way. Yeah. You do have to be a bit obsessed with your business to make it work at the beginning.
I think that's what is not spoken about, really honestly, because I think we've gone from, like you say, the pendulum swings one way.
Yeah.
You've got to sacrifice, you've got to do this and that. Oh, it's not cool. But it's only the people, my opinion, only the people who've made it that then talk about balance.
So true.
People who are like still skint and hustling, you're like, listen, there's no such thing as balance because I need to get this thing off the ground.
Yeah.
And like you show me a way of doing that easily. So I feel, what's the PC way of saying it? Like, I don't know, a bit of resistance.
A bit of resistance sounds nice.
When I hear people say, you don't need to be doing this, I'm like, show me their business. Now they're shouting about, you don't need to be doing this and you don't need to be doing that. You can have the perfect balance. When the same person who's shouting about that, I've been with them when they're on their phone kicking their kids away. No, I'm joking.
But 24 hours a day. Because at the beginning there is that. I have made sacrifices. I didn't go to my kids' nativity plays when they were 4 and 5. I worked for those 2 years so that I can be with them all the time now. But I do think it's getting like how much you have to work at it. Not that it's hard. I'm not saying it's hard work, but it's consistent work.
It's consistent.
And that has to be done.
Consistency is everything, But I feel like, again, it's marketing, right, in the online space. So the messaging, and if you just look a little deeper behind it, and so somebody says, you don't have to work, you don't have to put this time and effort, or you can do it in, 10 weeks. And you're like, well, how long did it take you?
Yeah, it didn't take 10 weeks.
I know. And how did you do it? And someone will say to me, oh, but, your launches or whatever, or your thing, do this. I'm like, let me be totally honest with you. My audience grew in 2013 to 2017 before Facebook massively monetized. Your business page would grow organically.
Completely.
No one's seeing that now unless you're paying for ads.
Exactly.
So I did that. I also was in an industry, in network marketing, where a lot of people followed the people who did well. I built a foundation. I didn't know that's what I was doing, but I built a really good foundation audience. Great stuff. Most people don't do that. I also gave away free for 7 years.
Yeah, a lot of time.
7 years. I was free coaching. I was free mentoring. I was free speaking and teaching people everything that I knew with nothing coming back because I never had an email list at that point.
Yeah.
What an idiot. But if you said to someone now, you wouldn't expect anyone to do 7 years for free, right?
No.
But
even
that's
if you tell
what
them
it
to
took,
do free stuff for 6 months, people don't want to do it anymore.
No, which is nuts, isn't it?
No, you kind of have to.
But I get it. Everything now, Amazon Prime, if it doesn't come tonight, then I better go to the shop. So everyone wants things faster, and I get it. But I also think even with our messaging about clients and their results and all this, definitely this lessons from this incident has made me look at things a little bit deeper. But I also think context is now so important, to say, hey, this is what my launches are doing. But remember, back in, 2000, whatever, I didn't even have an email list.
Yeah.
I did 7 years of giving away free stuff. That's actually what it took to get there.
Nothing's an overnight success.
No.
It might look like it, but it isn't. People conveniently forget that I had an entire business before. The wedding planning business.
I didn't know you had those businesses.
No one does. I talk all the time how before this business, I learnt the ropes on a wedding planning business.
Yeah.
And it was really hard and I made every mistake. And then in this business, yes, it seemed to go well, but that's because of all the things I did wrong in the other one. There's always something more.
Yeah.
So with the industry how it is now, you've got plans of what you're going to do moving forward, and you just talked about pivoting. You've just pivoted a little bit. You've opened an agency.
Yes.
How's that going?
Amazing.
Brilliant.
I have to get all the systems in place because it's a lot busier. People want things faster, right? So
they want
things done for you. Yeah, exactly. 100%. You must see that now.
See it loads.
Yeah. Can you just do it for me though? You're like, I don't really have the capability, but let me see. So
And so what's next for you? What do you want to do? Do you think you'll still be in this online world in the future?
Yeah, but I don't flipping like it most of the time.
I understand.
We've had that conversation and it's the same. Why is it always where there's a load of women? I don't know what it is. You said about it, didn't you, the other day? It's always where there's loads of flaming women, yet they shout about things, about being kind to each other and all, and yet...
And collaboration over competition, but they don't mean that.
I know, but come on. So I don't particularly like it all the time, but I find the way out of that is I just stay in my little corner of the internet where people are all right with me being very real. I have some with autism. It's bloody hard work. I said bloody, sorry.
It's all right.
It's flipping hard work. And life is not snazzy for me. The era that I'm in right now is not the...
It's not the glam era.
Yeah, I'm not watching your Instagram anymore. But that's my era right now. And that's your era right now. Yeah. I think people get sucked into comparing or whatever. I'm like, listen, I'm not getting on any plane. No. I don't care what it looks like.
There's different times and different...
It's different eras, right? When your kids were younger, you were on your own with your boys. Yeah. Like that was just how it was then. Yeah. And thank God, now you're free.
Yeah, for a while. But it goes like this a bit. It's up and down.
Of course it does. So I really just don't have big plans. I'm really just like, honestly, most of the time I'm surviving in terms of life stuff. Yeah. Business stuff is okay because it's strategy. It's all based on data. Like. It's maths. You can figure it out, right? Yeah. And it is kind of escapism, isn't it? It is. You're like, oh, I enjoy this, but I mean, cooking tea at the madhouse is crazy. Yeah. So I think that's just how I'll go. I'll see, how the industry, I don't think I can predict it too much, but I think that it's going to be so much easier for genuine, authentic, real people to stand out. And I think we have seen that massive shift if you've only got to look at your ads.
Yeah, that's so
When you do a really crappy, like, hey, come to my masterclass.
No one cares.
No, that's the one that does nuts. If I sat on my living room floor with a potty which actually had a bit of wee in it. I didn't realize when I was recording. And that video did insanely amazing as opposed to the one
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. People want real. They don't want the polished version anymore.
Yes.
Which is really good news.
Lemon, great news.
So much
it's so much cheaper.
It really is. I used to have to do my hair and makeup all the time for stuff. And now I can just go on and go, I'm doing this thing. People like it.
Rock up with a mum bun.
That's good news for people coming into the industry.
Yes, honestly, even like lots of like the newer people that I've been working with, and they're like, what do I put on an ad? I'm like, let me give you an example. Grab my phone. I'm like, literally like this and say this, and then they do it and it works, and they're getting like under £1 a lead, and they're like, this is insane. My audience has grown by 150 people this week. I'm like, told you.
Yeah, that's all.
You don't need to be all snazzy. You don't need to be all polished. I kind of like that about it.
I like that.
So I think more of that. I'll be happy.
Yeah, let's hope it goes that way.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
It's been a really good chat. I think it's really important that we talk about things like this out in the open so that people can know what to look out for.
Yes.
And, I want people to realise that this is a great industry to be in, and there are so many amazing people in it that we meet every single day. For the one person that's kind of not delivering, there are so many brilliant people that are delivering.
Absolutely. I'm really focused on that.
Yeah.
And we can't have those leaving the industry because otherwise they win.
Yeah, exactly that. So I'm so glad to have somebody like you on here.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thanks, Lise.
Thanks for listening to Making Money Online. If you want to start your online business journey, you can get my free course, Fabulous Foundations, right now in the show notes. I'll see you next week for another episode.